Hello, everybody. My name is Donnie Gates. I'm the Senior Vice President for First Orion Company. Today, I'm going to talk to you about our call enhancement and branded calling products and take you through what they look like and how they work. So let's go ahead and get started. Just to tell you a little bit about First Orion and give you a little bit of history and some of the basics on where we came from and our pedigree. We are a 12-year-old company. We started out, and still until this day, in a very big way, we started out specializing in stopping, identifying both scam and spoof calls in a very big way. Today, we do this for T-Mobile, Sprint, Metro, and all the companies that they own, and up to the tune of about 50 million scam calls each and every day we are tagging and identifying through the T-Mobile, Sprint, and Metro networks. About 4 years ago, our customers came to us and they said, you know, you do a great job at stopping scam or identifying scam, but we've got a big problem. The problem is that because of all the scam and spoof calls that are going on nowadays, we are having a hard time getting our customers to answer calls to the tune of about a national average is about a 14 to 16% average for businesses to get their calls answered. If you augment that and think about the fact that over 100 billion scam calls got through to your customers last year, in the research that we've done, we've been able to identify that 87% of the American public says that if they don't know who's calling or why, they are not going to answer a call. So basically 9 out of 10 calls before you even get started trying to reach out to your customers, if you're reaching out to them with an 800-877-888 number, whatever the toll-free number is, even if it's a local number in many cases, they are probably not going to answer your call. So let's talk a little bit about how we stop that and how we help that. What we found is that if people know why you're calling and who's calling, they will answer the phone. So because of that, we've created two solutions that I want to walk you through today. One is a basic caller ID solution. The other is a much more in-depth branded calling solution. And I'll go through those now and explain a little bit about each one of those. The first of those is called Inform, as you can see here. Inform is a branded caller ID. It's fully customizable. You can put any caller ID or name on the handset, as you see here. And the great thing about Inform is that it takes about 3 hours, literally, to get up and running. There's no IT integration to take place. There's no apps to ask your customers to download. Simply a couple of things need to happen. You tell us what you want the handset to say, just like you see here where it says Good Bank. You tell us when you want the program to run, and you give us the outbound numbers that you're calling on. Those are the numbers that you own, not your customers' numbers that you're calling. I don't want those numbers. If you give me those numbers, I will send them back to you immediately. We do not want to have those numbers. One thing I want to call to your attention on this slide that you can see here is the call log. What we found through the years is that callbacks are much, much higher when somebody knows who it was that called. So if you can see in the call log here, you can see where it says Good Bank. Think about the difference in that, and if it was just a number like you would see below it, the 501 Little Rock number. If you call a customer and it's just a number in their call log and they don't know your number or why you called, the bad news is that they're not going to call you back. They think you're a bad guy. They think you're a scammer or a spoofer. They're not going to call you back. However, we have empirical data to show that when it says your name in that call log, not only will you get many more callbacks, when you do get a callback, those callbacks will be a much warmer call. And because of that, conversions are much higher on callbacks due to having the name in the call log. Inform covers about 100 million handsets today on the T-Mobile, Sprint, and Metro networks, and 6 or 8 smaller companies that they own called MVNOs, which are smaller carriers that they've bought or that they do business with over the years. There's another 30 million handsets coming over soon that we will have access to as well. So when it's all said and done, we'll have about 130 million handsets, or a little over 32% of the adult callable market in the United States. And I say adult because, as we all know, there's a lot of kids that have cell phones out there, and we try to be very careful about calling kids, and we do not count them in the numbers that you see here. So again, if it's about driving conversion and revenue, delivering a better customer experience, or even resolving customer issues, we found that Inform is a very, very easy way to get started and a very effective way to meet those goals. To move on to our second solution that I want to talk to you about today, this is called Engage. Now we've moved into what is called branded calling.
The future of business calling is here with Engage branded call display from First Orion. Let's face it, reaching customers can be difficult when they don't know who's calling. So would you rather send them a call that looks like this or like this? With Engage, customers see exactly who's calling and what the call is about. Banks can call customers to verify recent transactions. Airlines can reach travelers with updates to their itineraries. Food delivery services can update customers about changes to their orders. Insurance companies can quickly get more information about customer claims. Engage is enhanced caller information that helps consumers discern which calls to answer. When customers see graphic-rich displays with your logo and information, it makes it easy to connect with them at exactly the right time, bringing your answer rates up and building lasting trust with your customers. Want to talk more about the future of business calling? Get the facts and request a demo at firstorion.com/engage.
As you can see, Engage is a much more in-depth solution. You can deliver all colors to the handset, any name and any logo can be displayed on the handset at the time of the call. The great thing about Engage too is that right here underneath where it says the name Good Invest, where it says your recent transaction, that is a completely customizable message that can say anything. It might say, Donnie, we're calling about your recent prescription, or Donnie, we're calling about the recent transaction you did, or Donnie, we're calling about your credit card, or whatever you want it to say, whatever you need it to say. You would simply go into our portal that you would have access to and put that customized message in there. It's probably 5 seconds to add that in and send that call through. The great news about Engage is that Engage is a little bit different than Inform, and in that it is through your app. If you have an app, it is a SDK integration that will reach 100% of your app users. This makes you completely carrier agnostic to who you're reaching out to. And in that, if you put us in that SDK, put Engage in that SDK in your app, we can reach any carrier. We can reach not only T-Mobile that we're in network with, but we can also reach AT&T, Verizon, anybody, as long as it's an SDK integration via your app. If you do not have an app, you can do it. You can do a simplest API integration with Engage. You'll still be able to reach T-Mobile, Metro, and Sprint customers. The reach won't be quite as far. So with Engage, there's a couple of things that we found out and that I want to kind of expand on a little bit. You know, over the years, what we've done is we've done a great deal of research and surveys in trying to understand, whether it be for financial services, retail, food delivery, healthcare, rideshare, whatever the vertical might be. What we found is that customers are slowly moving back to wanting to be able to have that intimate one-on-one discussion with you. If they don't answer the phone, you're not going to be able to do that. But what we found is that customers are saying, we want to be able to have all the bells and whistles that you offer us on your website. If you're a bank, we want to be able to deposit our checks via our cell phone. We want to be able to wire money via our cell phone. We want all those things that you want, that you offer us. But by the way, when there is something urgent or something very important, I do not want you to text me. I do not want you to email me. If you do either of those, I really don't even know that it's you. I expect you to call me. And when you do call me, I expect you to be able to identify yourself and tell me who it is that's calling. This became a bigger and bigger issue with all verticals that we've seen. And in fact, in a recent survey, we found that 70% of the customers that we surveyed said that they would consider leaving their current financial services provider for somebody that would identify themselves when they called them for important reasons. So that kind of tells you right there how big a deal this is. So somewhere we've gotten off the path of thinking that it's okay to not talk to our customers. We've kind of went down the path as businesses of saying, it's cheaper and quicker for us to text our customers or even to email our customers. But here's the thing. In the days that we're living in with fraud and scam going on, especially so in the email front, your customers don't know that that's you that's really emailed them. And if it's for some urgent reason, if it's for your mortgage and they're trying to get a hold of you, maybe you didn't fill out a form or you forgot to sign a form, or if it's for a prescription, there's a prescription recall and it's extremely important that you know about that. Your customers and members expect you to be able to reach out to them on a call, and they know who you are when they call. So one last question I would ask you as you look at this, which of these calls would you answer? This pretty much sums up everything that I've been explaining over the last couple of minutes. As you can see on the far left, this is what your calls might look like today if you're using an 877 number versus what it would look like with Inform or even with Engage. As you can see, it's also usable on all iOS wearables as well. To talk a little bit about the dollars and cents of things, these are the numbers that we've put together from a couple of different lines of business. As you can see, whether it's from an application processing standpoint, customer retention, customer callbacks, service confirmation, those kind of things, you can see where the numbers have gone once they started understanding and seeing who was calling and they know why. One area I want to point out here that I think is very important that gets overlooked sometimes is under the area where you see it say customer callbacks. And the reason that I'm pointing that out is that what we found is that when you use Inform or Engage, your calls are manually declined at least 14% less in most cases than without using those solutions. So the math becomes pretty simple. How many calls do you make in a year? And how much would it mean to you if 14% more of those got answered? It becomes a very, very big number very quickly. You can see from a customer upsell perspective as well as reacquisition, the numbers are, especially so from a conversion rate standpoint, are extremely high. In most cases, many businesses are happy with a 5 to 10% conversion. Reacquisition, as you see here, we've got some customers that see as much as 67% lift from a conversion rate. A little bit more on the numbers. This is kind of a different way to look at it. You can see it's broken down here by more by vertical, whether it be insurance provider, financial services, a carrier, ride-sharing programs, those kind of things. You can see what the lift was kind of before and after over on the left, where you see what the baseline answer rate was before they started using Inform or Engage, and then you can see where it went to and what the total lift was, which is pretty amazing. To break it down more so, even by vertical a little bit. You can see as an average, 60% increases for insurance providers, 66 for banks on how they've missed calls. These numbers continue to get bigger and bigger. As we all know, the problem with scam and spoofing is going to continue to get bigger and bigger. And that's really it for today. I hope I didn't go too fast. I know I went through a lot in a very short amount of time. I appreciate you guys giving me the time and taking a look at what First Orion offers, and thanks very much.